Welcome to another edition of TC Game Time Weekly. I'm Dylan Corbett, your host. Kind of short and sweet episode this week as we don't have many highlights to show you, but of course, get ready for a boatload as the Game Time Media winter season is about to start. In fact, Eden Prairie girls hockey just had a game. More girls hockey undergoing this week, so we will buckle up, have some highlights for you, probably for next week's show. But of course, want to dedicate this as a recap to a sensational continuation of the football postseason here in the great state of Minnesota. So let's break it down here at the top. Then there were four, and maybe a little bit of surprise of who the four we've got here for you. Anoka, this was the incredible fourth down play. You can see it on Twitter. I know NSPN, great continuing postseason coverage. They posted this on their Twitter account. Anoka on a fourth down play, quarterback. It looked like Baker Mayfield this weekend, just hard to bring down, being twisted around mid-sack, throws just basically a jump ball to the end zone on 4th and 7 from inside the red zone, caught. That ended up being the game-winning play, right? As that was with 3 minutes left to go. And then eventually Anoka takes down the city of Lakeville South the week before, now Lakeville North, 14-10. So both the seasons for the Panthers and the Cougars end shy of US Bank Stadium. Blaine came in as the 3 seed. They took on Minnetonka. Minnetonka shut them out 28-0, and that sets up Minnetonka, the 1 seed in their quadrant, against the 2 seed in Anoka in their quadrant after upsetting Lakeville North. Shakopee upsets Mounds View. A little bit, if you looked at this game on paper, we had talked that probably Shakopee was the proverbial favorite, despite seeding. And though I would argue that this was a closer than expected game, Shakopee does get the win, but 24-17, they beat Mounds View. Maple Grove, I think, is probably my pick that has been all year. Might just continue to be the way because they are undefeated and they are just steamrolling opponent after opponent, tough opponent after tough opponent. Edina, no match for Maple Grove, 42-12. But this sets up the showdown now between Shakopee, the 2 seed, and then Maple Grove, the 1 seed. And that's a sensational semifinal. Both are. And there are a lot of talented 4 teams remaining. Only one will be crowned state champ. And we will, of course, find that out as we approach the Prep Bowl. But those are your final four. Shakopee against Maple Grove. My goodness, what that's going to be in terms of a matchup. And then we've got Anoka, who will look to keep on surprising folks. They'll get Minnetonka's fresh off a 28-0 thrashing of Blaine. So let's flip down to 5A. The defending champs are moving on. I had that game for you on NSPN .TV. That was over at Osseo High School. Chanhassen gave up a 66-yard rushing touchdown to start the game and then ripped off 21 unanswered points. They would go on to win 38-21 over St. Thomas Academy. Nathan Ramler has 4 touchdown passes. He's got 21 touchdowns and only a handful of interceptions now on the season. They're going back to US Bank Stadium. A lot of people still counting them out. They've got Elk River this week in their semifinal matchup. That's how the season of this title defense started at home. A pretty humbling loss against Elk River in that week one. It's a pretty different team from week one for Chanhassen, and they're playing some of their best football to date. So I think that's going to be interesting, but still a tough task. And they have had to beat teams to get to where they are. Mankato East beat them in the regular season. They come back, beat them in the section title to get to the quarterfinal, in which they blow by St. Thomas Academy, and now they will have to beat Elk River, the team that beat them back in week one, in order to continue to that state championship title defense. Right now, they're back in the semis, and of course, beating St. Thomas last year in the title, they get through the defending runner-ups, pitted against them in the quarterfinal. Now they'll have to get through Elk River and Owatonna, the only other team not named Mankato East and Elk River to beat Chanhassen this year. They're potentially waiting on the other side, but they've got a battle against Alexandria, who beat Robbinsdale Armstrong in the quarterfinals, 17-14. And Elk River, for what it's worth, close matchup in their quarterfinal. They beat Monticello 36-29. So again, if you look at all those performances, how about Owatonna needing overtime to beat Cretan Durham Hall? Chanhassen had the most statement win out of those quarterfinals. But again, it's a whole new ball game coming this week. So I'm excited. That's going to be an awesome semifinal at the 6A and 5A levels. And then just to wrap up the fall season here for you, put a bow on it. How about Lakeville South's volleyball state title cemented? They beat Champlain Park in 5 sets. What a year for volleyball it was. Wyzetta's dominance and dynasty has ended for now. They'll have a say again coming next year, but for the first time since 2018, there's a team not named Wyzetta hoisting the trophy in Minnesota volleyball, and that team is Lakeville South. The last team that won it in 2018, Champlain Park, the team they had to go through to win that title, and it took 5 sets. So congrats to the Cougars from Lakeville South on their volleyball state championship. And then, so I've realized that these YouTube shows they've got to be 15 minutes or less. Last week we had a pretty stacked show for you. So I didn't get to talk about the girls and boys soccer finales to the fall season. So want to give congratulations here a few weeks late, but to the Wyzetta girls who ended up beating Edina 3-1. So they went on to, as the 1 seed, hoisted up. And then how about the shocker at boys soccer? Egan in a 4-3 overtime winner over Maple Grove. They were the 4 seed in the state tournament, and they end up becoming state champions here for the 2024 fall season, which puts a bow on it. We've got another week of football, another 2 weeks, the semifinal, and then the prep bowl at the 5A and 6A levels. We're excited to cover that for you on the next edition of the TC Game Time Weekly YouTube show.